I would like to introduce CA Ravi Kumar Patwaji. He is the CCM of Eastern Region. So I would like to request sir to kindly present the living plant and the memento to our next speaker, CA Shashikant Shinoy ji. Okay. Yeah, I would like to request CA Ravi Kumar Patwaji kindly come on the dais, please, along with the guest speaker of CA Shashikant Shinoy ji. I request with the staff to present the living plant and the memento. Please big round applause for him. Thank you, sir. So today, yeah. So today we have three speakers for this session, and the first session will start from CA Shashikant Shinoyji, and he will give the lecture on the shared service versus GCS strategic outlook. CA Shashikant Shinoyji is a chartered accountant and seasoned finance transformation leader with over 20 years of consulting experience, including senior roles at KPMG and Deloitte. He currently leads the global finance transformation practice at Unix. Shashi sir has advised CFOs and boards across of India, the Middle East, the US, and the UK, delivering high-impact transformation program. His expertise spans GCCS, SSS, setups, ERP-led changes, controlships, and finance operating model design across. And he is sought after speaking and the mentor in finance forums, including session hosted by ICI and industry leader. Without taking so much of time, I request with C. Shashikant Shinoyji, please over the please. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. No, it's okay. Sure, sure. This is what. Okay. Very good afternoon to all the participants and a warm welcome. I know this is a post-lunch session, so I'll try to keep it interactive and at the same time, make sure that the audience is engaged in the conversation. I think we have an important topic to cover, as set in the context in the inaugural session. I think GCC is here to stay, and I think a lot of potential in India as a country, and therefore the topic today that we are going to talk about is, what is the shift that has happened in the GCC space over the last 30 years? What lies ahead of us? What does it mean for us as members of the institute? And how can we monetize this opportunity, right? So this is what I'm going to cover today. Uh, I don't have a lot of theory in the slides, but a lot of statistics. So I'm going to talk about the insights that we have seen. So I have been in this, specializing in this area for last 20 years. And I'm going to talk about the trends that I'm seeing in this space, and which will help us to grow as professionals and also to grow, the fraternity from our perspective, right? So that's going to be the topic for today. If you think there are any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask those questions. Or we can also park some questions at the end and I'll cover them, as you have questions to ask us. right? So with that context, I think I'll begin the session. Okay, I just want to go back to how this industry, got created actually, right? I think this goes back to about 35 years in time. 1990s or the early 1990s is when the real technology wave came into India. There was a realization in the global world that India is a hub for technology, and that's where the likes of Infosys, Wipro, TCS all started, capitalizing on the engineer talent pool that we had in the country. And when technology wave came in 1990s, right? What happened was then ITES or IT enabled services also gained prominence. And that's when, there were, voice based call centers that got set up. So when we look at late 90s, 1998 onwards, we saw a lot of voice based call centers for US companies being set up in India. And we saw the trend slowly graduating from voice to non-voice, right? And that's when companies started looking at India, and when I say companies, I'm talking about the global multinationals, started looking at India as a hub for a lot of transaction processing or enabling function activities. So for example, it started with technology, but then it graduated into finance, it graduated into HR, it graduated into legal, and then slowly it started taking over each and every area that operates in an organization. So that's been the shift over a period of time. Today we are sitting at a stage where all this evolution has happened, and we are now looking at India as being the front office. So 30 years back when this industry started, India was seen as a back office, which will do the day-to-day transaction processing, mechanical and repetitive jobs, a lot of focus on transaction processing. Usually it used to be one function scope, right? Either technology or finance or HR. And now it has, over a period of time, grown into a multidisciplinary organization or a captive center for global companies, right? So we have moved now from a back office to a front office. And if you've seen all the leaders in NASSCOM talk about, India is going to be the front office for the world, right? And that's how the positioning of the Indian talent pool is today, and which is a very positive thing for all of us, because a lot in store, lots of things to do. And I'll show you some statistics which will give you a comfort that we are in the right place at the right time, right? Come today, where are we standing, right? All of this customer call center, contact center, captive center have all transitioned into, in 2010 they were called as Global In-House Centers or GICs, right? Today, I think the whole nomenclature has undergone a paradigm change. Now we are calling them Global Capability Centers or the GCCs. So it is no longer about processing, it is more value-adding activity directly impacting the business. It is impacting, the core business of large multinationals. I mean, I'll give you one example, right? How many of you have heard about Tesco? If you can raise hands. So Tesco is a large, just like Walmart or, Target in the US, they are large supermarkets operating primarily in UK. Tesco has had a shared service or a global capability center, I would say now, for last 20 odd years. And a lot of their global leaders are sitting and operating out of their global capability center in Bangalore. Most of them are expats actually, who have relocated from UK to India to run this global capability center thousands of people work in that center. Just to give you the extent of work that is being done in India, their entire store layout and design is happening in India, right? So it is no longer you picking up the call and being a support desk, but actually driving how a retail store should be designed, what should be placed where in the store. All of those decisions are being undertaken in India. So it's a big shift that we are seeing over time that has happened. The last 30 years, what has happened is a lot of confidence in Indian talent pool has grown as far as the global conglomerates are concerned, because they have seen the results, they are seeing the efficiency, they are seeing the outcome. And we have a lot in store as we progress into the next decade or so, but very, very encouraging kind of trend to see. Please go ahead.
Purpose would be if Indian workforce would have been utilized, then
Very,
it would
very
have-
good question. Very good question. So, okay, what they did, they wanted to make sure Indian talent pool is completely customized with the culture of the store in that region. So what they did, they started sending their executives on a 3-year, 5-year secondment. Okay, they cross-trained the Indian workforce and went back. Now, in fact, if you see the trend, the global heads are all sitting in India, are of Indian origin. So a lot of those changes are happening, right? But that's why I said it's a very encouraging trend the way we are seeing the market actually.
So similar is happening in the manufacturing sector also, wherever we are not having, earlier technology. The new technology is being transformed here
Yeah.
by bringing the expat from that particular country to India.
Yeah.
And then by the passage of time, when Indian people learn it, then they are sent back.
That's correct. And one more trend, and you would have noticed it. Indian diaspora now are CEOs of large American corporations already, right? If you look at Microsoft, if you look at Google, most of the Indian diaspora is actually leading all these global multinationals. In fact, one of the big fours also had Indian origin global CEO for a very long time. So that also helps to position India as the next frontier for the front office. So a lot of encouraging, vibes that we see in the marketplace today, right? So that's the shift that has happened. We started with transaction processing, but moved as an innovation hub. Now, what is next, right? What we are seeing is the latest and buzzword is artificial intelligence or AI. So we are seeing India being considered as AI center of excellence for the globe. And I'll share some statistics with you, what kind of AI trained professionals we have in the country. For chartered accountants, interesting thing is AI is disrupting finance function in a very large way. It is happening sooner than later. Lot of opportunities for us, and I think in the morning some of the Central Council members talked about the course that ICI has launched on artificial intelligence, but we are seeing increasingly a lot of use cases of AI in finance. It is happening extremely sooner than we think it will, okay? And that's why there's an opportunity to become a center of excellence for the world on AI. So that's one trend that we see. The second trend is a lot of global sustainability initiatives are being driven from India, right? For example, the whole thing around climate change, or the whole initiative on decarbonization. A lot of that skill exists in the country, and a lot of chartered accountants are now engaged in sustainability related projects. And I'll tell you why. while a lot of sustainability related statistics eventually will now form a part of your integrated report which goes to the shareholders. Historically, only annual report had financial information. Now it will also start publishing, and it has already started in India, where you are publishing what is your emission, what is your water consumption, what is your fuel consumption, fossil fuel, what are the steps you are taking to promote renewable energy. A lot of that data is also getting embedded in the financial reporting or the annual report, right? So we as chartered accountants also need to embrace all the sustainability related aspects, because eventually that onus will shift on chartered accountants. So we are seeing a lot of companies, global, using India as a center of excellence for all the sustainability measures as well. So that is the second trend. Yeah, please.
So one question, like nowadays agent analytics is there. So it's like Chat GPT.
Yeah.
So once that is incorporated into the enterprise model,
Yeah.
then the use of chartered accountant in bringing the data, digging out something will be very low. So it would be only we are making a system SaaS based, and then the data is being digged out by the agent, which is made by the software engineer.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's a good question. I'll tell you what has happened in the AI world, right? Chat GPT, like you rightly said, it is generative AI. So in technical parlance, we call it generative AI, because you ask a question, it generates content for you to think through, right? It doesn't take decisions. What has happened is now the world is shifting from generative AI to something known as agentic AI. And agentic AI is supposed to take autonomous decisions. However, I think we don't need to worry. We have enough, opportunities before us. In fact, just to give you a stats, right? We have 500,000 members in the country today in ICI. Okay, in US today, right? There is a shortage of 350,000 CPAs. If you have seen the trends in US, right? Nobody is signing up for accounting profession. Kids are not joining finance. 350,000 only, there is a big vacuum in the US. All of those roles are supposed to shift, and obvious choice is India. So I don't expect any dearth of opportunity for chartered accountants in next 15 to 20 years. That's one. Second is, even within agentic AI, I think we are still far away from getting to the precision level that machine has to get to. Okay? So therefore, human intervention will be very critical. Third, right? If you look at the current bandwidth of us, goes in data crunching and number crunching. We are not spending a lot of time analyzing data. Once machines become perfect, once AI starts showing advanced results, a lot of our time will go into analyzing things. So therefore, the nature of your work will change. I don't think the opportunity will come down, or humans will be completely replaced by machines. So that's not going to happen.
I just give you an example of large language model which we implemented in one of our client, that is a Worthy Cart. Worthy Cart is a e-commerce model for this beauty products, beauty and health products. So in that, by large language model, that chatbot can extract any data which has been, analyzed and put by the doctors behind it. So if somebody is saying that I am of 14 years of age, I am getting acne. So which product will you recommend? So it gives a whole theory that this is the problem you may be facing, and this is the best product, and this is the food item you should eat, and this is the tablet or any nutritional item you should eat so that the acne will go off. So if this kind of technology is still there, so with passage of time, where CA involvement would be required.
Yeah. No, I don't think, the opportunity or, the requirement will come down. The nature of the job or the profile that you undertake will change. I don't think opportunities will kind of diminish. That's not going to happen. Okay. And we talked about it when computers came. There were several times in the past when this has happened, there has been a disruption in technology, but we've never stayed irrelevant, right? Because we will adapt to time, we will adapt to the new age, our profile will keep changing. Anyway, I'll move forward, a lot of things to discuss with you, and hopefully we'll see some more interesting insights as well. So just to give you flavor of the size we are talking about, right? We are talking about when we started in 2000, 25 years back, we had 700 GCCs. The total revenue was that they generated was about $11.5 billion, and 400,000 people were working. If you look at what will happen in 2030, we will end up, and this is all published NASSCOM data, etc. I'm not producing numbers here, these are all validated. So we are going to move from 400,000 to 3 million workforce in pure GCC. And I am not counting our IT companies in this population because they don't qualify as GCCs. GCCs are global capability centers for either Indian companies or for global multinational conglomerates. Just I want to also talk about an interesting dynamics. Today, as of today, right, if you look at the global capability centers in India, most of them are for Fortune 500 companies in the world. Okay? There is a equally large volume of mid-sized and smaller US companies which have never had GCCs before in any place in the world. Okay? And slowly that opportunity is now opening up for India because they have seen the likes of Goldman Sachs, which is set up and has now operated thousands of people for last 25 years, right? Deloitte, for example, has 100,000 people in their global capability center. EY has 100,000 people, right? So that success has been seen, and now medium and small enterprises are also kind of looking at India as a global talent pool. I have seen personally in the last 3 years, a lot of local chartered accountant firms are doing GCC work, which never happened 5 years pre-COVID. COVID actually accelerated the entire journey of GCCs in India, and two other statistics. One, I talked about the shortage of accountants in the US, and it's a deep shortage. Second is work ethics in US are on an all-time low right now. People don't come to office, right? People want to work from home. If you don't get a work from home option, they quit. That is the trend in the US right now, which means that corporations have no choice but to look at geographies like India to leverage on the talent pool. So that is another trend that we are seeing. The third trend which I'm talking about is GCC as a service. I don't know how many of you have heard this term, GCC as a service. Anyone, if you can raise hands? Great. So we have at least one participant who has heard about this. So GCC as a service is a new concept that is emerging now in the last 1 year. What it means is that corporations are coming to Indian companies and saying, I want to focus on my core business. I want somebody who can help me set up a GCC, run it for me, manage it for as much time as they want. And now what has happened is the multinationals, which were never present in India, are coming to players like Cognizant, TCS. They are coming to co-working space providers like WeWork, SmartWorks. They are coming to them and saying, okay, I have a 500 people FTE GCC requirement. can you help me set up, right? So that is known as GCC as a service. How many of you have heard company called ANSR, right? A lot of you have heard. ANSR used to do this for a living. Recently, Accenture, and this was about 9 months back, Accenture has invested $170 million in that business because of the future traction that they see from this business, right? So clearly GCC as a service is another trend. Now if you look at the entire spectrum of last 30 years, we started with cost arbitrage. Obviously talent cost in India is much lower. We moved towards delivery excellence. We talked about innovation. And in wave 3, which is where we are seeing now, we are in the wave 3. We are looking at digital transformation. We are looking at talent arbitrage. So we have moved from cost to talent arbitrage, which means that globally there is a recognition and appreciation of the skills that we bring on the table. And therefore people are valuing more than cost, talent actually in India, right? A lot of global roles are being manned by people sitting in India, in the global captive centers. I know a couple of, centers where the CIO, global CIO is based out of India. In fact, many of them, right? Because India is the technology hub, why not? A lot of global CFOs are also now slowly moving to sit out of the GCC in India. And that trend we will continue to see as we go into wave 4, which is 2030 and beyond, because now I think the focus is going to move towards innovation and direct value adding to the business. So far it was efficiency, it was talent arbitrage, but now how can India contribute to the business of global business? I think that's the shift we are seeing. And I think NASSCOM is playing a very critical role in advocating or promoting ITES and the GCC industry in India. So while we talked about this in the previous slide, how we have moved from cost to efficiency to value to impact, right? This is the shift that we will see as we move forward into the future. I want to talk about a few themes. Some of them are repetitive, so I won't repeat them. But for example, when we started with lift and drop, what does lift and drop means? You lift the process, let's say from US or Europe, and shift it or drop it in India and then run with it. So it started earlier with a lift and shift model. Now what is happening? It is no longer lift and shift. It is lift, shift and transform. So if the process, what has happened in the process? One, there is a lot of digital maturity in the processes that are moving to India because it is heavily aided by technology. It used to be manned by people in those respective countries. Now technology has come in. With the talent skill, it becomes a very powerful combination. What it does, it brings in a lot of efficiencies, it brings in a lot of cost saving, and more importantly, it is now contributing to the business in the form of insights. So that's one. The second, if you look at the word BPO, right? I didn't talk about it earlier, but when we started, it started with call center, then it became a BPO, then it became a KPO, right? And now we are calling it GCC. So just think through the change of the nomenclature itself gives you a flavor that the role of that particular unit in India has also evolved and changed over time, obviously for the good. I mean, so that's one good part. To my earlier point, we are seeing a lot of center of excellence coming up. I talked about AI and sustainability. We are seeing a lot of traction in India on defense and aerospace now. These are two, and you know what is happening, geopolitical conflicts. So defense and aerospace is another sector which we are seeing a lot of action, right? So that's another trend. What is in store for us for the future? I think it is very simple. We will become the front office and the innovation hub for the world. Moving on, what are the sectors that currently GCCs cater to? Okay, pretty much all the sectors. BFSI, which is banking, financial services and insurance, we're seeing a lot of maturity in this sector. If you look at Goldman Sachs, they have a large GCC in India. If you look at JP Morgan, has a pretty large GCC in India. Morgan Stanley, you name the company and they have a global capability center. Fidelity, right? RBS, HSBC. Name the world's largest banks, Deutsche Bank, for example. Everyone has a pretty matured global capability center in India. If you look at health and pharma, again, a lot of clinical research, is happening out of India as we speak today. You would have seen a lot of companies like Syngene, for example, who undertake clinical research and development for global pharma companies. So a lot of that work is being done in India. So not only BFSI, and BFSI is sweet spot for us as chartered accountants because they need hardcore finance professionals. In health and pharma, it is not only about chartered accountants handling the finance function, but also scientists who have deep knowledge in pharma and life sciences. Retail FMCG, I talked about Tesco. Amazon, for example, you are all aware, Amazon has a large global capability center in India. Now Walmart is ramping up their India Global Capability Center. So a lot of FMCG space. Talking about tech, Accenture is one of the biggest example. US conglomerate IT services company. 80% of their workforce sits in India, right? If we talk about manufacturing, a lot of manufacturing activity is also happening in India as we speak, right? Obviously, with the government policies of Make in India, etc. For example, Apple phones, we have started manufacturing. If you talk about 10 years back, there was, Apple used to not use India for manufacturing. But now, Apple has started producing phones in India. We are competing with China now, right? So a lot of manufacturing space is also kind of gaining prominence. Telecom, British Telecom has a large global capability center in Gurgaon. Vodafone has a large capability center in Pune. So I think if you look at all these sectors, you will find a lot of presence of global capability centers. If you look at what are the functions they serve, technology is by far the largest. Then comes research and development. And just to give you some context, for example, Mercedes-Benz cars, right? They have a large R&D center in Bangalore. The entire designing of the cars and the technology embedment in the cars is happening in India, right? And obviously, India also has a manufacturing center for Mercedes cars in Pune. But the point I'm making is R&D is again another hot area. Finance, I think it's quite matured now. A lot of scope for us as chartered accountants. Finance center of excellence. Name the company, it has a finance shared service excellence or a global capability center in India. If you look at legal and HR, these are newer areas that are moving into India, and the reason is India is a talent pool again for obvious reasons. A lot of CHROs are now being based out of India. And then comes operations and customer experience. So if you look at it, across sectors and across the functions, you see GCC penetration happening. If you look at the geographical dynamics or geographic demographics, unfortunately, 5 or 6 cities in India are having 85% of the share of GCCs. And somebody talked about it in the morning session as well, that Indian larger cities are getting congested. because everything is happening in these 5 or 6 cities. What is going to happen is now consciously people are looking at tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And I think this is one place where members of the institute can play an important role, because the fact that members are so diversely spread across each part of India, that opportunity can be monetized by members of the institute, particularly in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Tier 1 continues to be an opportunity, but tier 2 and 3 is where the next wave is likely to happen. Some of the growth trends, what we see in the market, right? 44% of GCCs have now transformed into portfolio hub. What does portfolio hub means? You have a technology function, you have a finance function, you have a sourcing function, you have an R&D function. Essentially, all the portfolios being consolidated and being run through the Global Capability Center in India. Right? So that's one trend. Second is 32% of the GCCs are moving transformation up into high-end product management. I talked about the Tesco example. We are going to see that more in the coming years. 12% of GCC workload is still outsourced to third-party service providers. You have the likes of Infosys having their, they do third-party processing for clients. Wipro does it. You have Genpact of the world doing it, WNS. There are players who operate, but that still continues to be 12% of the total workload. If you look at global roles housed in GCCs, about 6,500 plus professionals are leading global roles sitting out of India. This will go over to 30,000. So this is going to double at a very fast pace over the next 6 years. And this is the trend I was talking about, right? We will move from 6,500 to 30,000 people. If you look at the last one is very encouraging. We have about 120,000 AI professionals already in India. And this number is likely to grow with the awareness that is getting created, with the amount of learning and education and the amount of investment that is going in. I think we will see this kind of grow further. I talked about the market size. Right now we are sitting at $64 billion, is going to go to $100 billion. If you look at the workforce, from 1.9 million people, will move to 3 million people almost. So in 6 years, we are almost going to double, right? And this rate of growth is unprecedented. If you look at number of GCCs, we will have perhaps by 2030, 2,200 or even 2,500 GCCs, which means about 4,500 GCC units. When I say units, one GCC being present in more than one location, right? So this will move to 5,000. This is an interesting SWOT analysis. So what is our strength and weakness, right? The talent pool is our strength, but talent pool is also a weakness for us. Why? Because when I talk to GCC leaders who are leading the global capability centers in India, talent, recruitment continues to be a challenge. They are not able to ramp up people as fast as the demand is. There is high attrition. Obviously, there are opportunities. Talent attrition is very high, right? So therefore, while talent pool is a boon, it is also a flip. There is a flip to it because talent comes with its own challenges. We have to manage that part well in India to be able to make progress here. Cost efficiency, again, it is currently an advantage for us because the wage rate in India is much lower than in the US. Having said that, with the inflation that we are seeing, we are at risk of the cost advantage going away. A lot of other countries are picking up, global capability centers. So don't think that India is the only country. There are countries like Philippines, for example. There are pockets coming in the Europe. There is Poland, Warsaw, right? There is Krakow. There are a few capability centers coming in China. There are a few pockets also coming up in US itself in low cost states. So we will have those challenges, and therefore we have to manage the cost efficiency, and which is where the fact that we will use AI, we will leverage technology, make it an innovation hub, we will continue to justify that why India is the obvious choice for this place. I want to talk about a couple of other areas. We also have some, white spaces. For example, the MSME market in US is completely untapped right now. Okay, that's an opportunity for us. If you look at Middle East, is a complete untapped opportunity. One trend that we are seeing is a lot of companies from Dubai and Saudi are also now opening up to India as a global capability center. And that is the new trend that we are seeing. And this will present a lot of opportunities for us as chartered accountants, right? But again, there is a risk. For example, there's a country called as Jordan in Middle East. Jordan also is where India was 30 years back. There is young talent. They are started, focusing on education. Slowly, it is becoming the global capability center for Middle East companies. So some of these smaller companies will throw up challenges, but I think the vastness of India as a country, we are in a good place to monetize on what lies ahead actually. So just to give you the global scale, if you look at it, India is at the top from a workforce and graduate intake perspective. Europe has its own challenges. Europe is one continent where we are seeing not much action is happening, not much movement of or outsourcing trend that we are seeing from Europe. One reason is also non-UK regions have a language challenge. And now, again, technology is getting into how it can assist translation without knowing how to speak. You can use technology and use it to translate the local language, and India taking over that role as well. But that is happening slower than we anticipate. Action is still continues to happen in US, lot of action in the Middle East, and those are the two pockets where we are seeing traction. Now why we are getting here, right? English speaking proficiency is in shortage across the globe. And this is one area why India is capitalized. Finance expertise, like I told you, lot of shortage of accountants globally, in Europe, in India, in US, which means we are in a good position to capitalize on those global roles. AI expertise exists in the country. You have design and creative talent force available in India. A lot of focus is also on digital finance and fintech. So that's going to also, augment the growth that we are seeing in the space. And customer experience obviously has been our strong point for last 30 years and will continue to stay so. I talked about GCC as a service earlier. In GCC space, you know how it works, GCC as a service. You need 4 things. You need the location, you need the talent pool, you need infra, and you need local partners. As long as you tick all the 4 boxes, you are in a position to offer this. If you are having your own local chartered accountant firm, if you put these 4 things in place, you should be able to offer GCC as a service to the global world. So a lot of opportunity here for us, and already we are seeing action. I have spoken to at least 20 people between the 2 rooms since morning, and most of them, you will be amazed to hear that already they are doing a lot of global work sitting out of India. So this is already happening as we speak. Some case examples, I think, two contrast, right? One, we have Ford, which has a shared service in Chennai. On the other hand, you have Amazon. Now, Amazon has transitioned from a shared service to a global capability center. Ford, has moderate business in India, and therefore they see Amazon. For Amazon, the good part is they have a good thriving business in India, and therefore they thought now we can use India as a global capability center. Whereas Ford was not very successful in the Indian market in the context of cars, and therefore it continues as a shared service. A lot of, I won't talk much about this because it is all, in the public domain. Lot of promotion from the government. NASSCOM is playing an active role. Institute has gotten into the act, as is going to focus. We have a series of, kind of outreach sessions that will happen throughout the country by the institute to kind of promote GCC as an industry. I think if you ask me personally, we had overlooked this as chartered accountants, but now I think it's coming into our attention that there is a lot of work that needs to be done in this space. Yes. Yeah. You don't have to do any marketing. You don't have to do. See, there are two things. Yeah, sorry. It's a good question. I think most of, and this is a good conversation, right? I talked about a few people who met me in the morning, who are running local chartered accountant firms. Surprisingly, they told me, we don't do any BD or marketing. We don't have that infrastructure to do that. 80% of our business comes from word of mouth. So you don't really, I think it is well understood that an Indian chartered accountant has the requisite skills. Enough examples we have. Already a lot of confidence exists in the overseas community to make sure or to leverage India as a talent pool. So I think keep engaging, and I think you will get there. You don't have to, obviously, people who have the ability or the infrastructure to do the marketing will see better results. But again, if you are a CA firm, then all the restrictions apply. But if you are a consulting firm,
so there is no such restriction for consulting firms.
Yes,
See,
exactly.
We are grown as CA. We are groomed as a CA कि हमें एक sign
Yeah.
करनी बननी चाहिए.
Yeah.
For those things, there are restrictions, even though we have money to spend.
see now what has happened, soon this will, the way this restriction will also get revisited because times have changed now, right?
Yeah.
So we are going to see some changes in the way, the community also pursues some of these areas.
Yeah. So because wherever I have seen this thing and we have tried to promote this thing,
Yeah.
the only perception is we are a low cost industry for them.
That's gone actually. So that used to be the case 10 years back. Today when I speak, I keep meeting international global conglomerates who come to India, to evaluate a global capability center. And I'll tell you, in 6 out of 10 conversations, cost is not a criteria at all.
But sir, like for business firm, GCC as a service is a very costly affair, I think.
Not really.
Yeah, because sir, like recently we pitched a German client, like we are handling their branches in GCC and APEC region. So like their Indian regional office believe like we are Indian CA, like we will charge less so that they can save the cost which they are incurring in GCC and APEC country. But as a mid-sized firm, we don't have any network in GCC and APEC country. But GCC is affordable for us. Like once we go for APEC, like we are facing challenges in Japan and Korea because they are like still charging premium, and I don't have that talent in India to handle the Japan and Korea, and I have to tie up with them only.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, you have to identify your sweet spot. Your sweet spot is not larger corporations outside India. You should focus on MSME market outside India. That is completely untapped, and their requirements will also be less. So you are not going to, let's say, serve Goldman Sachs. It is going to be difficult. But there are enough smaller banks in the US who are open to looking at India. I think that is the population.
But sir, if he is giving me some work of like compliance of Japan or Korea, so they will see like whether I have presence in that country or not. Because like if I'm handling that,
See, you will have a challenge to build your first 5 clients. 5 to 25 will become easier. I can tell you.
so sir, they need like it's need a lot of investment. Like I need to like show them presence in Japan and Korea. But I don't think like for a mid-sized firm to like invest so much amount like setting up office in.
I'll tell you, a lot of clients are coming to us and saying, we will invest in this center. Okay, we will do all the infrastructure cost. We'll pick up. You just help us with the talent. So look at newer ways of engaging, because infra, I know you will need capital.
Yes.
A lot of these overseas players are also saying, we'll invest capital, but we want the output. So look at newer ways of engaging with them, right? So I'm just leaving these trends for your consumption. If you look at it, I talked about the shortage of CPAs in the US, and this is true and real. Just look at these. These are all news articles from top journalist houses. Just reflect on them. I think this presents a very positive picture for us, as we look into the future. I mean, what are the opportunities where we are seeing CAs in play, right? Quite a lot of opportunities. Again, I mean, you can look at the amount of work CAs are doing and what are the areas they are doing. Pick any area, you will find members exhaustively involved. For example, I want to talk about fund accounting. Now, a lot of hedge funds in the US, want to look at Indian chartered accountants for fund accounting, because they know the talent is here in India, and they are looking actively for partners to partner with in India. Very, very hot area at the moment, right? Similarly, if you look at L&D, I met actually 2 training firms in the morning who are actually, and these are a bunch of ex-Big Four professionals who set up a training firm and are doing L&D for global CPA firms sitting out of India, doing online learning, e-learning. So, I mean, the opportunity is huge, right? I mean, we have some prominent names of chartered accountants who've done well, as they have taken over not as just as the finance head of global capability centers, but overall leaders of the GCC space, right? As the CEO of the GCC. This is my last slide. I think we need to move from the perception that people have that we are accountants to the fact that we can actually be strategic catalyst for the business and become GCC heads or CEOs of corporations. We have enough examples, but I think this session was an attempt to just open the eyes of all the members that huge opportunity lies ahead of us. So with that, I kind of will invite any questions if, yeah, please.
Thank you for that knowledge enriching
Sure.
session, sir. I have 3 brief questions. First of all, we differentiated between SCCs and
GCC.
GCCs on the basis of the term innovation.
Yeah.
So I just had this curiosity in mind since morning that how innovation in terms of us as accounting and finance professionals, how is it defined in our scenario, our domain?
Yeah, very
innovation?
good question. Very good question. I'll give you some statistics, okay? 10 years back, and now, not now actually, people have been measuring finance function cost as a percentage of revenue. Okay? If you look at 10 years back, for a global corporation, for every $1 billion of revenue, the finance function cost used to be 1%. Okay. Now what has happened is, with cost arbitrage, it became 0.75%. Okay. With innovation, which is through AI, through digital, through efficiencies, through process re-engineering, now we are seeing the top quartile of companies actually reducing the finance function cost to 0.5%. And that delta from 0.75 to 0.5 is actually being contributed by the Innovation Hub. Another statistics for you. 10 years back, for every $1 billion of revenue that a global conglomerate generated, finance function team size used to be 70 people. Today, it is coming down to 45 people. I can give you one example. Okay? We have a company called Zepto. All of you know quick commerce. They generate $4 billion of revenue, and they are able to manage the entire finance function with 40 people. So imagine the kind of innovation they have done in terms of automation, in terms of digital maturity, and that is the core innovation that we are talking about from an India perspective.
Fine, thank you. Second question.
Yeah.
GCC, as far as I can relate since morning, it's quite a macro concept for most of us sitting in this hall over here.
Yeah.
We more or less related to outsourcing only.
Yeah.
Rather, GCC is quite a
Broader term.
You gave a statement that many local firms are venturing into GCC work. And as myself being an SME firm, hailing from an SME firm, I just want to know that you mentioned in the SWOT analysis as well, there is a huge pool of talent. And then there are these GCCs which require this talent. But I feel there is a gap between their, how do they approach them and how do they take advantage of that opportunity? How do they exploit that opportunity? So if you could please shed some light on that. How can local firms take advantage? Tier 3, Tier 4 firms can bridge that gap.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Okay. Now if you look at, I'll take the example of audit, right? So I know a firm which has, last 10 years, they are based out of Gurgaon, and, they have 500 people. What do these 500 people do? They are essentially helping the medium-sized firms in the US, the CPA firms, not the large firms, but the CPA firms, to drive audit documentation from India. Okay, simple example. What they did, they started with simple test of controls and test of details. Now they are actually shifting over a period of time from that activity to advanced analytics, to actually looking at how to close end-to-end reviews from the India operations. This firm that I know scaled up in last 5 years in COVID from 50 to 500 people. Okay? And they purely leveraged, one is obviously COVID accelerated a lot of work from overseas to India. Now, in fact, they have upped their quality of work in the value chain and actually are able to close 75% of that audit process from India, which used to be 25% 5 years back. Any other questions? I'll take one last question because I think the next speaker has a very interesting topic to cover as well. but happy to answer one last question if any. Please go ahead. Yeah.
If I want to do it for other countries as well, so is it possible like for every country we need to learn the process of every country's or
Look, see, audit process is largely uniform across the globe. You will see some additional procedures you need to perform in the US region because of Sarbanes-Oxley Act and things like that. But the traditional audit process is easily replicable across the globe. The challenge we face is in non-English speaking countries because of the language. Right now, still the language translation accuracy is not up to the mark that we can undertake that work fully from India. But with AI playing a lot of role in that space, in next 4 to 5 years, I see that even that capability will exist. So together with technology, we should be able to up the value chain in the next few years. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you found this useful. I think we have an interesting session coming up. Thank you everyone.
Our heartfelt thanks to our CA Shashikant ji for delivering an insightful session on shared services versus GCS strategic outlook. Your expertise and clarity have greatly enhanced our understanding of this complex topic. We are grateful for your valuable time and knowledge sharing. A big applause for him, please. Please wait for the next session. Our Central Council member of CA Jai Ajit Singh ji is on the way. Please have a wait, sir. Thank you. Come on the dais along with CA Sameer Madan, sir. Please. A big round of applause for him, please. I request with CA Jai Ajit Chera sir, kindly present the living plant and the memento to CA Sameer Madanji. And I request with the CA Jai Ajit Chera sir, please give you the opening remarks. Thank you. हाँ ये इन्होंने बोला. I request with the CA Jai Ajit Chera sir, please give the opening remarks and enlighten the audience, please. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Well, I believe this is going to be a very, very interesting and very important session. The session is about empowering global capacity centers 4.0, mindset, skill set, and tool set. I believe that, all things are very important. Domain expertise, very important. technology understanding and skills, very important. But when it comes to all these things, chartered accountants have performed very well. When it comes to domain expertise, maybe audit, maybe tax, where we have been excellent. Fine. We have focused highest time on that particular aspect. Next comes technology. On technology also, we have devoted reasonably good time. But when it comes to mindset, probably we are not paying that much attention. You know, it is after 75 long years, it is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India which has come up first time with the work-life balance committee. Right? We had income tax, right? Direct tax committee, we had indirect tax committee, we had international tax committee, but only in the recent years, we have professional skills enrichment committee. We have work-life balance committee, right? Now, these are very crucial things, very, very crucial things. People may not immediately, feel that. Sir, सरल भाषा में कहें तो दो चीज़ें होती हैं. एक होता है काम लाना और एक होता है काम करना. हमारे ज़्यादातर प्रोग्राम्स और हमारा ज़्यादातर माइंडसेट काम लाने पे क्या काम करने पे है. क्या लग रहा है? करने पे है, करने पे है. काम लाने पे हमारा जितना फोकस होना चाहिए वो नहीं है. हमारा जो माइंडसेट, many of us, the mindset is that we are more into operations. We spend more time into operations. कैसे मैं सुबह ऑफिस जाऊं, आज का काम खत्म करूं, वापस आऊं, दूसरे दिन जाऊं, काम करूं, वापस आऊं, डेडलाइन टू डेडलाइन, कहीं ना कहीं हम ऑपरेशंस में. एंड दीज आर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स फॉर श्योर. बट डू वी स्पेंड टाइम ऑन स्ट्रेटेजी? Do we spend time on discovering ourselves? Well, one B school, one Indian B school, वहाँ पे एक प्रोग्राम है. The program is only this much: knowing yourself, knowing yourself, and it is a 1 month program spread over some few days. And I think that is 8 years back. I saw the brochure of that. The fees is only 35 lakhs. What was that? Knowing yourself. आप कहेंगे क्या बात करते हैं, नोइंग माई सेल्फ, मुझे नहीं पता मैं कौन हूं. भाई साहब, यही तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है. वी डू नॉट इन्वेस्ट इनफ इन द माइंड सेट. सर आप समझो, इफ द कैप्टन ऑफ द शिप डज नॉट नो टू विच पोर्ट इज स्टीयरिंग, नो विंड इज फेवरेबल टू हिम. सर जब मेरे अंदर मन में वो फील ही नहीं आया कि मैं 100 जन की 100 पार्टनर की एक फर्म बनाऊंगा, अगर वो फील ही नहीं आया, जेन्युइनली है, सुनने के बाद नहीं, सुनने के बाद नहीं, तो वो होगा कैसे मेरे साथ? अच्छा, ये तुरंत नहीं होगा, ये तुरंत नहीं होगा. बट अगर अंदर वो पहले मैं अपने आप के अंदर वो एनर्जी लाऊं कि चल 1 से 5 तो बनते हैं, 5 से 25 तो बनते हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं आई बिलीव, सर मैं आप में से एक हूं, क्लोज्ड बात कर रहे हैं हम, इसलिए बात कर रहे हैं कि अगर कहीं काम करना है चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स को तो स्किल सेट पे करना है. यस, फॉर श्योर, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. डोमेन एक्सपर्टीज पे करना है, बट सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है माइंडसेट पे. The most crucial thing I find, I hope I am wrong, and if I am wrong, I'll be happiest. But मुझे लगता है माइंडसेट पे हमें बहुत काम करना है. कहीं ना कहीं हम अपने आप को ऑपरेशंस में ज़्यादा देख रहे हैं, स्ट्रेटेजी के ऊपर. देयर इज अ सिंपल थिंग, वर्किंग इन बिजनेस एंड वर्किंग ऑन बिजनेस. सर बहुत सिंपल सी बात है, वर्किंग इन बिजनेस, वर्किंग ऑन बिजनेस. अब आप कितना इधर से कर रहे हो और कितना उधर से कर रहे हो, that will decide where you are reaching. बहुत सिंपल सी बात है, right? So I think this is a very, very important session when we are talking about mindset, right? उसके बाद स्किल सेट. एक बार माइंडसेट सही हो जाए ना, तो खुद ब खुद सब कुछ सही होने लगता है. माइंडसेट शुरू हो जाए ना, I'll give a simple example, and it is said, more than your aptitude, it is your attitude which determines your altitude, right? We had a wonderful cricketer known as Sachin Tendulkar, yeah? और उसका एक कंटेम्पररी भी था जो उसी के साथ आया था, एंड ही वाज कंसीडर्ड टू बी बेटर देन हिम. डू यू नो हिज नेम? फैंटास्टिक. तो सर स्किल सेट तो उसका भी था, चक्कर कहाँ पे था? माइंडसेट. तो अब आप डिफरेंस देख लीजिए. ऑल द टेक्निकल कॉम्पिटेंस में भी इवन इफ एट पार, 1% रीचिंग व्हाट लेवल, अनदर स्टॉपिंग इन. सो इट्स अबाउट माइंडसेट. मुझे तो लगता है टॉपिक इज माइंडसेट, स्किल सेट, टूल सेट. बट अगर स्किल सेट सही डेवलप कर दे तो आदमी टूल ले आएगा, एंड माइंडसेट डेवलप कर दे तो स्किल खुद ब खुद आ जाएगी. सो प्रोबेबली घुमा फिरा के सब कुछ माइंडसेट पे है. And I'm sure we have a fantastic speaker who is going to cover up this particular aspect, and this is going to be a very, very important session for all of you, and even for me. मुझे भी तो लर्न करते रहना है आपके साथ साथ, मुझे भी तो ग्रो करना है. So, I'm sure at the end of this session we'll be having some thoughts to ponder. Maybe आप एक या दो पॉइंट्स ऐसे ले जाएं आज इस सेशन में से जिसके ऊपर आप काम करें, मैं काम करूं और हम अपने आप को नेक्स्ट लेवल पे ले जाएं. सो दैट इज इट. थैंक यू वेरी मच. या प्लीज.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time. Thank you so much. Now moving further to the next speaker, CA Sameer Madanji, with over 30 years of expertise in finance, transportation, and global delivery, served as CFOs and head of the finance of GCC at Agilent Technologies until May 2025. He led the strategic evolutions of GCCs across India, China, Poland, and the Philippines. Currently, he advised Fractal.ai and Spanix Consulting on business and digital transformation. Now, I request CA Sameer Madanji kindly enlighten the audience with their session. Thank you so much, sir.
Am I audible? So good afternoon, everybody. So we're going to talk about GCC 4.0 and mindset, skill set, and tool set. One thing which I do when I hire people is I never hire for skill, I hire for will. Skill I can teach you, will I can never teach you. And skill in company A is very different than skill in company B. Accounting is the same, but the way the companies do their accounting, the way their chart of accounts is set up, the way their subsidiaries are set up is very, very different. So remember, hire for will, not for skill. Skill I can teach you, will I cannot. Okay, so thank you. I normally start my presentations with a cartoon, and cartoon only for humor. It's not satire. So what is the sauce, secret sauce, the sauce for the GCCs of FNA to succeed in India? Any guesses? It's all of us. So the cartoon says that should we outsource our kids' education? Yeah, India CAs are the best is what he's reading in the Financial Times. So the secret sauce of success for India GCCs is all of us put together. Let's see the evolution of FNA GCCs in India. I talk more about FNA GCCs because that's where I've spent most of my 28 years. It's been 31 years I became a CA. So the early narratives was in the years mid-90s to 2000s, primarily led by Amex and GE. So it was basic transactional FNA, high volume, repeatable tasks. And this continued till about 99, 2000. Year Y2K, the boom of Y2K, helped us transform us into the next level of FNA. What happened? We got a consolidation of the entire industry. There were Six Sigma processes. So whatever basic transaction processes we had, we started using Six Sigma. I myself was certified black belt in 2001. We had process excellence and ERP upgrades. Because initially we had the basic version of ERPs, and slowly more and more modules and bolt-on applications started coming out. One of the biggest learnings I had in the year 1995 when I went to do my US CPA after doing CA from India was to go and implement ERPs. And that's where I realized that IT and finance are two sides of the same coin. And I think I reaped benefits post the early narratives when the next level of real fancy ERPs came up. If you remember Oracle 11, ECC SAP, now you have S4HANA. So learning technology became my love after knowing the accounting. I remember, holding company was a tough cookie to crack. When I joined the companies, the ERP took care of everything. Right now, what is the single biggest intangible of a company which is not in our balance sheet? Any guesses? Especially the GCC balance sheet. Any guesses? Yeah, manpower. Thankfully, he used manpower. I never use the word human resource because resource by default, once you use it, is gone. is human capital, but it's neither human capital or manpower. What else? Process, yes, kind of directionally true. What else? The US accounting body is coming up with a accounting paper on how to value data. The single biggest intangible on the balance sheet of any company is data. Why do you think Asian Paints, till about a year back, was the darling of the stock market before JSW and Indigo Paints and others came in? They had data which they used to have negative working capital. In which pin code, which color of paint sells, which quality of paint sells, and they used to replenish the paint tinctures because the basic paint was white. This is another innovation they had done. So it's the data with you, the customer preference with you, the customer behavior with you, the fact that this product line is coming up for end of life because you're giving more and more discounts. So that data is to be valued. I mean, the previous speaker was talking about Zepto, Zomato. What does it have? It has data. Are you a vegetarian, non-vegetarian? Within a vegetarian, are you a tofu guy or you kind of hate paneer? Because paneer is adulterated. So very soon we'll have data as an intangible. Goodwill is all gone. So hopefully our institute will also come up with that soon. Then the very interesting, the third phase, which was from 2015 to 2020, we had global FP&A hubs, stat and tax compliance hubs, SOX controls ownership. Do you know now there are applications that, you put in a US GAAP trial balance, you put in that to AI tools, you get a UK compliant annual report 95% ready. You have a Spanish compliant registrar of companies filed return available till about 85% ready, including language. You heard of any tools like this? Go to the net. I won't say go to Google. I don't like Google. So go to the net and search Workiva. Search Caseware. So technology and finance have become two sides of the same coin. And may I request all of us to learn technology, because the technology guys can easily learn finance. And one of us may not have a job 20 years from now. So hopefully it's them, not us. So I repeat, finance and IT are two sides of the same coin. It's better that we learn IT before they learn finance. And any which way, finance is now democratized. Balanced scorecards are now there for each and every function where your kind of input to the financials of the company are there for your annual bonus. So if you go and look, the company which started balanced scorecard was a company called DuPont, where even HR is incentivized to hire people more from LinkedIn, from internal resources, rather than using a headhunting firm, because that has an impact on bottom line as well as cash flow. So smart companies have baked that into the recruiting arm of HR. So till 2020, this was the phase 3. What are we talking about now? GCC 4.0, right? What do we have now? High-end finance, treasury center of excellence. In Agilent, where I used to work till about 45 days back, we used to take hedges for the entire $7 billion company sitting from India. There's a platform called Integrity. It's one of the best platforms that Fidelity offers you. Every US company or every MNC has about 15 intercompany invoices for every trade invoice, because they've set up their shell companies here and there to get beautiful effective tax rates. Do you know what is the effective tax rate of Google? Starbucks? What is the tax rate in India? 25%, right? The effective tax rate of Starbucks is 3%. So in the US, as they say, that the Wall Street is rich, but the main street, every street is poor. Google pays about 7% tax rate. They have these fancy intellectual property right countries. They sell their IPR to the likes of a Mauritius, a Belgium, a Singapore, and pay one-time capital gain, and they invoice from there, it's tax-free. So Google, when it's invoicing in India, the original invoice is coming from the Google entity in Singapore to the Google entity in India, and then to the Indian entity which is buying their services. It's tax-free. And why am I telling you this? Because the treasury benches have to hedge it. For an American company, revenue in INR is of no good, right? They want to convert that into USD. So for every trade invoice, you have 15 intercompany invoices. So entire treasury hedging happens from India now in many companies. In many companies. And then what do you have? M&A due diligence. Last week, I moderated a panel for a company which does these programs that came live on CNBC. How many of you know that there are at least 12 reported deals which the deal tracking and the first generation of the leads was done by AI? So go watch that. It's available on YouTube. Pardon? Sorry, I didn't get. Repeat what? So the M&A deals, there is a human bias in M&A. Do you all agree? Will it be better if an AI platform does the first pass of deal hunting? You heard of a company called Kraken? Kraken? You heard of that? You guys should seriously know what's happening in the technology field. Kraken is the world's, I think, third largest crypto trading exchange. Okay, and it was acquiring a trading website called Ninja Trader. And the entire M&A groundwork was not done by analysts of Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley and what have you, but by a startup called Termina. Go and look it up on the net. Human bias will be eliminated. And M&A, the other side of M&A is what? Divestitures, right? Now, I have a company which has 100 product lines. There are 2 product lines which are not doing well, but I'm emotionally very attached. Will I ever tell my board, go sell these? No, right? This tool will tell them. So whether you like it or not, AI has already taken over a lot of stuff. It's slowly coming to India, but it will come here very rapidly. So M&A by AI, and GCCs are doing it in India, by the way. So go look up Termina. There is another company which started a potential MSME unlisted set of companies available for either IPO or acquisition. It's called UniCredit's Deal Sync platform. The entire vetting of it is done by the AI tool. Which country has the largest number of listed companies in the world? Come on, guys. Mera Bharat. India has more number of listed companies than the US. And now there are applications which, you come up with a quarterly result today. In 2 hours, this tool has already done the analysis, compared it to the previous year, previous quarter, previous century if you are alive, and more importantly, of your competition. So chartered accountants need to be part of the company which has designed this AI app. Because whether you like it or not, HDFC Securities and the ICICI Securities and Motilal Oswal Securities will start using these apps and one day develop their own. What is a large language model? We all use ChatGPT and whatever, Gemini and whatever else. These are public platforms, right? Morgan Stanley's and the Goldman Sachs of the world are already ready with their own large language model. And GCCs can play a big role in this, and they are already doing it. But today, India hosts more than 700 GCCs, blah, blah, blah. I think you've heard that. And my takeaway is India is now the decision support powerhouse, not just an execution engine. And we are in 25. Believe me, in 2030, we'll have M&A firms sitting out of India telling US clients, buy this. check out Refinet. This is another nice AI art platform. There are tons and tons, and these are being developed as we speak. I'm also working with a company to try and develop one such kind of a platform. The thing is, the GCC ecosystem in India has just begun. Whatever has happened earlier was just a stepping stone. We have to upgrade our mindset. So the mindset change has to be from a cost center to strategic financial intelligence. The ability to convert numbers into a story and a story into numbers, not accounting. Accounting, SAP and Oracle and Dynamic 365. You heard of Dynamic 365 as a ERP? Good. It's a Microsoft product. Believe me, it's going to come and give a tough competition to SAP and Oracle because they're going to have a suite of offerings. So it was given 45 minutes, so I've quickly rejigged this slide. What has changed and what hasn't? Okay, from executor to a thought partner and an internal consultant. Telling your board, telling your boss, this particular product line is up for renewal and sale. So the GCC sitting out of India have to do it. What hasn't is that guy needs to know what are the internal governance norms, what are your internal parameters of ROI, what are the reporting norms which you have to do in terms of segmental reporting. But now you have to go and tell your US headquartered MNC that this particular product line has to go. Or I need to buy this particular MSME which is coming up in my area. You know, right? Business is cutthroat. What is the average age of a company which spends in Fortune 100 now? In the year 2025, a company which comes in Fortune 100 spends only 18 years. You leave aside the big oil companies. Had you heard of NVIDIA 18 years ago? No, no? So why could Intel not come up with the idea that people want fast processing? What is NVIDIA? It's just a super fast microprocessor, right? Your modern day laptops with the NVIDIA chips, go buy that. When you get onto a Zoom call, it automatically zooms to your face. No need to have a background, and it's just a faster processor. So something as basic as this is missed out. It's like a Kodak moment, right? You heard of a Kodak moment? What Kodak moment was? Digital photography was invented by Kodak and they dumped it. So the mindset shift has to be that when you are in a GCC, you're not doing AP, AR, Q2C, R2R, FP&A. You are actually telling your boss, hopefully who's at least the chief accounting officer, that this is something which we are missing as a product line, or this product line is not doing well. You need to have the confidence. Ownership model. GCCs now drive outcomes, not just deliverables. So even if, for example, you are a newly set up GCC and you are, let's say, setting up your P2B process, you're not going to use RPA now. You're going to force the vendor to log on to your accounts payable portal, choose the PO you've given them, they'll upload the PDF, hyperlink every part of the PDF to the PO, and then the ERP will do a 3-way, 5-way, 10-way match. Gone are those days where Blue Prism and Automation Anywhere, will sell you a RPA, and you'll have to go to a big four and they'll suggest you, use our services. There are ready-made apps available. You just customize them. So you have to kind of now drive outcomes. And what will not change is, of course, you have to focus on process discipline. You have to kind of have, audit trail, blah, blah, blah. So basics remain, but the mindset has to be now to add value. To add value to the global company. Any examples you can give where an Indian listed company of a global MNC which is also listed has a higher market cap? So there is a company which is listed outside India, its market cap is lower than its subsidiary listed in India. Any examples? Pardon? No, Jubilant is the Indian arm of Domino's. That's not the example I was looking for. So I repeat, can you look at the enormity? There is a global company which is listed on its mother exchange. It has a subsidiary in India. Obviously, since it's listed, it's not 100% subsidiary. The market cap of the Indian company is higher than that of the global company. Pardon? No, Unilever is, but you're right, technically Unilever as well. That Hindustan Unilever in India is valued more than, but the best example I can give you is Maruti. Maruti Suzuki's market cap is more than Suzuki Corporation's market cap. When we can do it in production, manufacturing, why can't we do it in GCCs? I'm making sense? I'm looking at you guys a little bit lost. What next? Look at the process end to end, understand the interlinkages upstream and downstream. We finance people are blessed. We know what is happening in the entire company, in the entire industry, in your country, and then geopolitics. So if my revenue is falling, is it my price realization is bad or my production cost is high? Nobody better than us. So when I was a CFO, I used to give a hard time to the sales guys. I said, we have a meeting for 1 hour, and I'm very punctual about my time. I said, I have a meeting for 1 hour. I will give you 10 minutes that you can clap yourself how good you are. Next 40 minutes or 50 minutes, tell me why you lost deals. Okay? So look at the interlinkages. Find out where is the problem. Help the sales guy also. One example I'll give you is, how many Apple lovers versus Android lovers? Few Apple lovers. So one of the reasons why there are few Apple lovers is the safest platform is of the cost. Now, Apple knew India is a price-sensitive market. Feedback went, and they've launched the Apple SE, which is much cheaper than a 16. How did it go? Because somebody in India finance told them. So look at it end to end. And GCCs now are the brains. GCCs have now gone from being a back office to the backbone. So make sure that you look at processes end to end and don't get into a silo of finance. So what hasn't changed is, of course, attention to accuracy, correlation, reconciliation, making sure that you have mastered the data. What else? Willingness to challenge the status quo and suggest better ways of moving forward, like some examples I gave you. For that, you need to have the right will, risk-taking abilities, command over the English language, and numbers, which we all love. So, I'll give you an anecdote. When I joined Articleship, this was Lovelock and Lewis. Coopers and Lybrand was a separate firm. Pricewaterhouse was a separate firm. I'm very old. I only look old. I have a lot of energy, by the way. So, Coopers and Lybrand was a separate firm, and PW was a separate firm. So I joined Coopers and Lybrand in 91. And first day when I went, a reasonably bright student. I had done my CWA before that only. And I remember one partner gave me a telephone directory, iska total karo. I came back home and cried. Kahan phas gaya main? MBA kar leta. But mastery over numbers, that's where I learned that it has to, numbers are your bread and butter. But convert a number into a story and a story into a number. And of course, what doesn't change is service excellence, stakeholder empathy. Make sure that whenever you give feedback, you don't be very, very harsh. Now let's go to the next one. Okay, encouraged to ask, how do we shape the future of finance? I think we have talked about it. Let's go to the next set. Now, obviously, mindset is critical, but skill set also has to be nurtured. While in the beginning, I told you that I don't hire for skill, I hire for will. But once they join me, I have to skill them. Now, what do we do? So what hasn't changed now in GCC 4.0? From rule-based execution to judgment-based, insight-driven roles. Unless and until you are adding value, which means you are telling what can we do in a better manner from the numbers of your business. Not P2P, Q2C, reporting kar di, reconciliation kar di. Reconciliation करके पकड़ा क्या कि upstream क्यों ये लफड़ा हुआ? Which is the best available reconciliation tool in the market now? I'm not advertising for that company, by the way. Guys, which tool do you use? Any names? Blackline, And there are many now. I mean, the Indian startups have come up with unbelievably good tools. Blackline is bloody expensive. Huh? High Radius is one of them. It's not an Indian company, by the way. Who said High Radius? It's not an Indian company. It's about to get listed in the US. But a very good example. But Zoho, our own homegrown guys, have pretty good tools. And you know, I dirtied my fingers in GE by a tool called STAR, S-T-A-R, System for Tracking Account Reconciliation. There's nothing in those days, I'm telling you, in 97. They had a huge Microsoft Access database where they dumped the entire ledger and the subledger in the Access database so that you have a control that, okay, this is the total amount which is coming in the GL, these are subledger lines. Blackline is exactly the same thing. That was in the offline mode because, you know, there was no connectivity, data was expensive. Blackline is nothing about that. So, you know, make sure that after you've done the reconciliation, like Blackline offers you, insights where you can go and tell, okay, you know, suddenly your standard cost has gone too much. So from that reconciliation, give some insights. And what hasn't changed is strong foundation in accounting, compliance controls, rise of scenario modeling, business simulation, and predictive analysis. I'm paid, whatever little pittance I'm paid is to predict the future. How do I predict the future? Of course, I look at the past, but I look at customer feedback which is coming. What finance people sometimes miss is what are the customers asking and wanting. And as GCC guys, especially if you are in a MNC GCC, even though you are heading finance like I used to not too long back, now I'm in consulting, go ask the customer service guy that what is the customer saying? Why is my DSO rising? So take the voice of the customer, take it to the right person, whether the R&D guy, whether the sales guy, whether it's to your board, saying a product mix needs to change. So predictive analysis. Do you know now there are companies which are doing the next year budgeting on AI tools? And I'm more IT guy now. CA में मतलब accounting, very good accountant, but अब वो तो ERP करता है. So I repeat, do you know that now the next 1 year, 3 year and 5 year plans are done by tools? Anybody heard of it? So for example, a company, I'm just taking an example, is in the healthcare space. For the last 10 years, what was the correlation of the growth of revenue of that company versus the growth of GDP? So if the GDP grew by 6%, the average growth of the company was, let's say, 19%. So it's 3.01%, right? So parameters like this going up to more than 250, you do a plan coming out from the tool. Let the sales guy say, no, it's too high, but at least there is a trail. And believe me, these large language models are becoming very smart. And dare I say, machines are getting smarter, human beings are becoming dumber. So predictive analysis is the name of the game. So you should be able to predict that your company is not going to do well. You're looking at the competition. I told you there are tools when a listed company's results come. You know, they've analyzed, the tool has analyzed it in the next 1 hour. 1 hour. Of course, what hasn't changed is need for technical finance certifications. CA is number 1. Cross-selling in data analytics, visualization, and strategic FP&A. So visualization is very, very important. And you need to have these models. Like I told you, how do I do the budgeting for the next year? It's visualization. Processing of the same data. Owning that data. Attention to accuracy, correlation, reconciliations all remain very, very important. Because when you're doing visualization, you're taking past data and you're predicting future performance. So assumptions, accuracy, all your disclosures still remain. Build a new skill, ability to model and predict future based on AI tools. So your ability to build those tools using whatever language, Python, whatever else. And finance folks who are working in either GCCs or in corporates, please don't have lunch every day with finance people. Go have lunch with HR guy, sales guy, IT guy. Have a beer in the evening with your IT guy. Or have coffee if you don't drink. What doesn't change is demand for detail orientation. And GCCs are at the forefront. Soft skills is the game changer: storytelling, executive ready reporting. This is very important. I still see finance people, please find attached here with the Excel sheet. No summary. In fact, now in companies, we don't send reports by email. We have a business reporting website. You go, ask for a report, schedule it via email if you want it. I want to see how many people are logging in, and I send that report to the CEO and the CFO. You want a number and you want somebody to send you an email? No, I can't have so many people in my company. So the business reporting or the BI tool will do it for you. Go schedule it if you want an email. And what hasn't changed is the precision, objectivity, hard data are the foundations of credibility. Good. So we've covered mindset, skill set. Now let's come to tool set, because the tool set also has changed. It's all become tech driven. So, from Excel we've reached to AI, ML, Gen AI, and now even agentic AI. So agentic AI not only just tells you what has happened, but also tells you what to do. It tells you what to do. So for example, there is a matrix which Gen AI has created. This is the discount approval matrix. Agentic AI will say, even though this is falling in the next bucket, let's approve it because it's one of our top 10 customers. So agentic AI tools even tell you this. For the top 10 customers, even if he's asking for extra 1% discount, it's okay. So what hasn't changed from a tool set? Of course, understanding your mother data, which is your core ERP. Whether it's S4, whether it's ECC, whether it's Oracle, whether it's Dynamic 365, or for that matter, anything. Maybe as simple as Tally or QuickBooks in the US. And all the boundary apps, including, by the way, non-financial data, the customer preference, the voice of the customer, reading the comments in the voice of the customer. Why did the customer inquire and not buy? There is a tool which we developed through AI. What is the conversion of a query of a potential new customer into revenue? So you got a query, why could you not convert it into revenue? So correlation. Is it price? The features? If it's price, sure, I can get you a stripped down version of the same product. So data doesn't mean just coming in from your financial data, from your ERP. Sure, now even customer feedback comes in through the ERP or probably a bolt-on. So data, we need to own it. Use of tools like Caseware, Anaplan, Workiva. I told you, Caseware, Anaplan, Workiva. All beautiful tools. Please go back and have a look. So the big fours need to be scared. Of course, what hasn't changed is process standardization and documentation are vital. Because remember, AI models which you develop are based on assumptions. So you have to document those assumptions and then keep changing it, because it may give you a result which may not come out to be true. But at least you can then tell your boss and do CYA. CYA is very important in life. Tools now used to simulate working capital valuations, M&A and ESG risk. So what is going to be your DSO? The tool tells you, based on the aging brackets of your AR, the credit risk qualification, segmentation, your accounts payable, and it also tells you, can I delay a payment by 2 days and get you this much? It kind of projects. And by the way, every function has a tool now. Everything is a tool, right? But the problem is, you don't know how the tool works. You just rely on it. That's what hasn't changed. Garbage in, garbage out. So if the tool is taking garbage in, it will give you garbage out. Focus has moved from automating tasks to augmenting decisions or outcomes. All what we talked about. Ownership, what hasn't changed is ownership remains with us, and our reputation is even more at stake now. As I told you, that LLMs are based on what you fed them. Of course, they're becoming very intelligent, by the way. Huh? Give me 5 years. In 2030, I'll give you a tool which cannot go wrong. Just 5 years. I'm working hard on it. Pardon? Absolutely, and I think that's the key, right? Now I can do modeling in seconds. I can tell you which company to buy in a matter of minutes. And that's a scary thing if you please think about. You know, we need to know that unless and until we are in that boat which is using it, your company will not exist. How many of you watch the most game-changing interview of the last 2 months in India? Can anybody talk about it? The most game-changing interview of one of the most respected ex-CEOs of India. Pardon? Pardon? Vijay Mallya? No. Respected ex-CEO. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, not a good example. Let me tell you, he's an ex-banker. One thing when I joined my articleship, I remember the person who was articleship under was a gent, and those days accounting was the citadel of Bengalis. So this gentleman, he's passed away now, was Mr. Pranav Ghosh. So he told me, Samir, you should read the pink newspapers at least to the extent of 2 hours every day. Even today, I read more than 4 hours of all business newspapers in 4 hours every day. So that interview was of Mr. K.V. Kamath. You know who K.V. Kamath is? And what did he say? That's what you missed. Please go back and watch it on YouTube. He said that in the next 5 years, every bank in India will have to cut their operating costs by X percentage. And what is that X? Please take a guess. I repeat, he said in the next 5 years, Indian banks will have to cut their operating costs by X percentage. What is that X? Guess? 75%. 75%, my dear friends. I just want to give you the reality. Okay, so what's the future outlook? GCCs will increasingly drive enterprise-wide finance decisions, not just support them. Right? Mark my words, there will be GCCs which will be valued more than their parent company, and they will get listed over the next 5 to 10 years. Because the brains are with us. Aren't they? Yes? Oh, well. Yes. So India-based finance teams will lead integrated business planning, own company-wide stress testing models, that how good you are, all the models I told you, which will tell you which product line is up for renewal. Define ESG targets and financing strategies. This is going to be key. I think ESG reporting has come out to be as a niche arm for GCCs. There are various conventions, and if you want the best reported ESG annual report, please go look at the Mercedes and the BMW annual report. Most of it was done in India. Shape investor narratives and capital market communications. Goldman Sachs has so many thousands of people sitting in India. JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. We will drive their investor market communications. You already are to some extent, but even more so. Success will depend on your mindset, bold, ownership-driven, entrepreneurial, skill set, deep finance, digital and storytelling. The tool set is very important still. It's modern tech stack and AI orchestration. AI orchestration or AI modeling is extremely important. Mr. Kamath says that your operating cost has to come down by 75%. Who will do that work? You heard of Brazil, how they transform, sorry, Mexico, how they transform their banking system? Again, a request, please read. So, Mexico as an economy was very similar to an Indian economy till about 5 years back. A lot of parallel economy, under-reporting of revenue, parallel economy, black money. The government fixed it by coming up with e-invoicing. Every invoice of trade, of course, some mom and pop stores need not follow it, but say anything more than say 20 lakhs, has to be exactly in one format, electronically. That invoice goes to your customer. The customer has 3 days to accept it, else it will get automatically rejected. An accepted invoice will go to the government and the bank. You can't underreport your revenue. So auditors hopefully should spend less time. That's not the only thing. The game changer is every time you get a payment on that invoice, that receipt will also go to the bank and the government I mean ROC, income tax. Does the bank need an army to do credit analysis? No, right? The bank knows your working capital better than you by using all those tools. And believe me, this is going to happen in India, and that's the reason why the Mexican peso is the best performing currency against the USD. India is no longer just the back office, it's the backbone. I said, my last slide before the cartoon, I always begin and end with a cartoon. So a quick recap of what we talked about. Hopefully you found it worthwhile. Finance professionals to hone new age skills, and new age skills are all what we talked about. It's technology, it's your ability to kind of be aware of what's happening in the entire market, which is understanding the internal business models and the ever-changing worldwide economic landscape. So when we doing CA, we were taught, just-in-time inventories, that you should have less inventory. The world moved from complete nationalism to complete globalization, now to hyper-nationalism. So instead of just-in-time now, some say it's just in case. रख लो कोई बात नहीं यार, inventory रखना अच्छा है. कल को लड़ाई हो गई, war हो गई, फिर supply chain choke हो गई. So you have to be very, very nimble to the worldwide economic landscape. Ability to communicate with your stakeholders even more, and by stakeholders, it's very easy to communicate with your external stakeholders. Communicating with your internal stakeholders is very difficult. So have lunch, have beer, have coffee with non-finance folks. Be tech smart. I think I talked about it. Learn storytelling and be nimble. You have to tell a story. As finance people, we have to babysit our bosses. We have to babysit our investors. We have to babysit our board, including the Audit and Finance Committee. If you tell them too many numbers, so-called finance professionals also will get bored. I'm like trying to tell you a story there. Hopefully you are listening. And last, and the most important, compliance, compliance, compliance. I do not want a data breach coming from an India-based GCC. I do not want any GCC employee to leaking the result of the parent company before the results come out. I don't want any other hanky-panky to happen in a GCC. Because remember, the ethics and the culture in India is very different than the parent. So compliance, 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 very important. Okay, now for the last slide, the future of India's FNA GCC is bright because all the leading economic indicators also have been outsourced to India. So if the leading economic indicators of the world have been outsourced to us, why can't we as FNA GCCs become much bigger and tell the world that we are the best consultants under the sun. Okay? Thank you for listening. If you have time, I can take a question or after that. Okay, all right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much, CA Samir Madanji, for your expertise and clarity have greatly enhanced our understanding of our mindset, skill set, and tool set of this complex topic. Now we have with us CA Abhay Chajarji, Central Council member of ICI. Please welcome to him. I request CA Abhay Chajarji, please come on the dais along with guest speaker CA Ankit Chugji. Now I would like to request with CA Abhay Chajarji to present the plant to CA Ankit Chugji. Now, I would like to request with CA Abhay Chajarji, Central Council member, to give the opening remarks of this particular session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Ankit, for accepting our invitation in this very important GCC Summit. I think this being one of the last sessions, but I still see a good number of participants. So thank you so much, participants, for being here on this important topic, which we say AI tools every global CA should know. I think this is the apt topic, the need of the hour. And I think none other than Ankit, who's here, he's been one person with us associated for so many years, in fact, and I would say for the US outsourcing certificate course, which we have, I think he's been one of the main speakers to begin with the certificate course. I believe he's been taking sessions. So someone like him with his experience for last so many years really would help the participants to understand the importance of AI and how that could be used as a tool for this global GCC. So Ankit, thank you so much for being here once again. And of course, we talk about automation, we talk about AI, which ICI has been having a committee started last year, doing so much in AI in terms of the certificate course. Most important is just the certificate course is for 3 days, where we have almost 450 batches done for our members. And I believe this is the need of an hour. We've completed first phase of the certificate course. Now we are starting second phase. So it's now, we have done for our members, they have learned AI. Now it's for the clients to know what is the importance of AI. So now the members would help their clients to implement AI in their processes. I think that is the way now the second phase will be getting implemented very soon. We have planned for 100 such batches in this financial year, and maybe then more to come. But of course, this phase one will still continue, and members have been learning, and I believe AI is one of the important, I would say, part or become a leg in our practice, or even as a member of our institute to know how to use or use these tools best for our global practices also. So thank you, Ankit. Over to you. I welcome you and as one of these speakers, and welcome all the participants for this insightful session, which I'm sure Ankit will share with his experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your valuable time. And now the next speaker is CA Ankit Chugji, a chartered accountant with Executive General Management from IIM Lucknow, has over 17 years of experience in professional services with a strong focus on the Global Capability Center space for the past 12 years across India and the UK. As eminent speaker, he leads very initiative in technology, outsourcing and staff augmentation, and unaccredited executive coach and certified AI trainer. Ankit sir was honored with the Economic Times Young Leaders Award, recognizing him among India's top 50 young professionals. So I request with CA Ankit ji, please start the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the warm introduction, and thank you, Abhi sir, for the invite here and letting me be one of the speakers for a topic which is very, very close to my heart. I know it's already late. We are at slightly over 5 p.m., so I'll try and keep it short, and I'm more than happy to take any questions that all of you would have. AI, as we keep talking about it, even the previous speaker was speaking about it, and I think this is one topic that you would have been hearing from everyone. So when we start with this, what I wanted to kind of do was, we'll come to the agenda. Let's just give a very quick overview of what AI is. I think one of the biggest problems that I see right now is that we have been using the term AI in possibly anything and everything that we have to talk about. Right? It's become the most commonly used term. Even when we are opening up an Excel, we say we are using AI. So I'll just very quickly cover in a couple of minutes the key concepts around AI, and then we will dive into some of the tools that are out there and which are available in the market. Please note that none of these tools are an advertisement or sponsorship for any of these tools. This is something that I have just picked up from the market, and some of which we have been using as well. And then before I kind of do that, let me just have a quick question, and that's the only question I'll ask today. How many tools or models do you think are currently available in the market right now? Just a wild number. More than 100, okay. Sorry? More than 100,000, okay. 470. That's a very precise number. So there's a website called huggingface.com where people will typically go and get their models added. I typically see that website before I start with any session because the number of models that are being added are rapidly increasing. So just before this session, when I looked at it, there were more than 18 lakh models that were added onto the tool on the website. So that's the number of tools that you are looking at which are already available. And then there are multiple other tools, API integrations and everything that people are doing themselves. And hence, when we talk about tools that we can use, I may not be able to do a justice and talk about each and every tool, but we'll try and cover, as I said, some of the key tools in each of the major service lines that you can possibly do when you're looking at setting up your GCC or working in a GCC. Now, starting with the key concepts, the biggest umbrella is artificial intelligence. Okay, when we speak about AI, it is anything where artificial intelligence can be done to perform a particular function. Even as simple as setting up a traffic signal to turn light every 30 seconds is artificial intelligence. But that's the key concept or the overall umbrella. Now within AI comes your machine learning, which is the subset of AI. Now here you would overall train the model, which includes a lot of machine learning by putting in inputs into it. So for instance, one of my friends is currently working on this, who has built up a GCC to train AI models. Now what they're doing currently, or what their project is, which they've got from Google, is to train how machine can automatically read the notes of the currency that is coming as donation in temples. Because the amount is huge and they feel there's a lot of discrepancy in what is happening. So what they're doing is they're scanning every possible note. So if you will say look at a 10 rupee note, they would possibly scan 10,000 items of 10 rupee notes, different shape and form, crumbled, colored, with a line on it, everything possible. That is where your machine learning comes in. Now the further subset within machine learning is deep learning. This is where you truly have the neural networks which mimics the human brain. And you train both on structured and unstructured data. This is where things start to get really serious, right? So you have artificial intelligence, then you have machine learning, then you have deep learning. Now within deep learning is what we are hearing the most these days. One is your large language models, and then comes your generative AIs. Now most of the large language models are also Gen AI, but not all of them. So if you have heard about DALL-E, which is used to generate images. Now while it is a generative AI tool, it is not a large language model where you can use language to otherwise interact with it. You can just use language and generate an image out of it. So you have large language models, and then you obviously have Gen AIs, which are the subsets of deep learning. So that is how you should see the entire window of when you are looking at any of the AI tools, or you have to kind of go about it. Now in terms of why do we embrace, although I'm sure every possible speaker has spoken about it, so that's why I did not go a lot in detail. 4 main bullet points for me for your efficiency and automation. Right, the efficiency that you can get by reducing the amount of time every work has to take can come with a lot of these tools, etc. Improved accuracy. So it's not just about doing the work quickly, but it is also about doing it accurately. And this is where most of the models fail right now. Because none of the models that you would see in the market, especially the generative AI tools, are 100% accurate. This is where your own deep learning would kind of come in, and people would be developing their own models, because when we are dealing into regulated work or client work, we would want that 100% accuracy also to kind of come in. Enhanced decision making, obviously with a lot of data, it gives you better analysis, better insights, and you're being able to take better decisions. And the most important one, the research and knowledge at speed. Now with the tools like Perplexity, Claude, and some of the other ones, the research which would possibly take 2 or 3 weeks can even be done in 1 hour, along with citations of all the sources, links, and everything that you could possibly think of. Overall, when we're talking about the large language models, especially the generative AI tools like ChatGPT and everything, think of them as the assistants or your team members that you never had. Someone who can come in and start working from day 0. You don't have to train them for anything, because all the data is already inputted into them. All you need to do is put in a prompt. What is the prompt? Prompt is nothing but the message that you put in to get the response from any of these tools. When you are interacting with the large language models, think of them as that first-year article who is basically a PhD. He knows, or probably has 4 or 5 PhDs and knows everything damn which is there on the earth. But at the same time, they do not know what are you expecting. So the clearer your instructions would be, the clearer you will be able to define your problem and define your question. Better and more accurate the answer would be. Some of the key common which are being currently used, and the advanced ones with higher accuracy rates. Again, I would want to add that disclaimer at this point in time. None of these Gen AI tools are 100% accurate, right? They keep on releasing new models, and with each of the models, they also release the accuracy that is kind of coming in. I believe the last ChatGPT model that had come in, they made it do the IIT JEE test. They had done this in the past as well. The last time that they did, the rank was in thousands. Now they have reached a level where the rank that it kind of came in when they made the tool do the entire entrance test, it came in 4th as per the marks that it scored, including all the mathematical calculations and everything. So that's the level of accuracy they have reached in some of the fields. While they'll keep on working on it, you have to ensure that the work that you are doing and you are looking at, you are checking those outputs and making sure that you're getting to the right results. From a chat GPT perspective, again, one of the most commonly used generative AI tool, some of the key things could be a conversational AI assistant. Another thing that they have recently developed is the speech to text. So you no longer have to even type in your things. You switch on the speech mode, you can be talking with them while you're driving your car or you're anywhere, and they would put everything into the text, put in the answer, and give you the final output, which can even be downloaded directly into a Word file, PowerPoint, or whatever you want. So it no longer has to be an answer within the window itself. So when you're doing document drafting and some of the reports, etc., you can build in your own custom GPTs, train the model, give those inputs, and have the exact output that you want every single time. Data analysis capabilities, again, this is one thing which is there in most of the tools, but ChatGPT is tad bit better than some of the other ones. The other one which has recently kind of come up and doing really, really well is Google's Gemini. 6 months back, they were really lagging behind, but with the recent launch of Gemini 2.5 Pro, the capabilities of the tool has increased significantly. And I'll be covering this in the later slides as well. If from your workplace perspective, you are in the Google workspace, then having this really solves a lot of the problems and helps you bring efficiency in your day-to-day jobs. This is capable of getting linked from Google Sheets to your Gmail to everything and kind of summarizing everything at the go as and when you kind of want to get it done. Similarly, if you're using the Microsoft, then Copilot is what it is, kind of doing the same thing what Gemini does for the Google section. You can integrate your Copilot with Edge, which is your basic default browser, along with your Outlook, your Teams, PowerPoint, Excel. It can get linked everywhere with the same single license. That is one thing which a tool like ChatGPT lacks right now. So again, anyone who is using the Microsoft ecosystem, the obvious choice is Copilot, given everything else that is kind of involved there. Even if in case you come in and you ask the Copilot chat of the emails that I received yesterday, can you summarize the number of emails? Who all had sent the email? Give me one key summary of each of the email. All of that can be done by one single question in the chat. Similarly, even if when you're looking at this PowerPoint presentation that I'm presenting, I made this yesterday using some of these AI tools. So I used a combination of 3 tools, something which would have typically probably taken a day or two, happened the entire thing in less than half an hour. So when we look at, sorry? The presentation that I'm presenting right now? Which tools? So I used a combination of ChatGPT Pro, Copilot Pro, and Gamma. Paid version, all 3 paid versions. Again, you can use free versions as well, but when you're really progressing and you have to use higher token size and more data, you will have to take the paid version. So for instance, Gemini is one of the best when you're creating presentations, but in the free version, you can only create up to 10 slides. This one has 30 plus slides, and that's why I'm also kind of rushing a little. But you can do that when you have the paid versions. Then there are some domain-specific LLMs. I'm not sure how many of you have seen the ICI GPTs. Can I see a quick show of hands? Oh, that's great. I think we're slowly progressing towards that. For those of you who haven't, please go and download that. I think that's the best thing that you can possibly pick up from this session and go and do it. For the ones who have been using, please keep looking at it. I am also the special invitee for the AI and the ICI committee. And we keep adding more and more modules and GPTs within ICI GPT. We have recently launched one for all the financial statements that are out there. So all the 5,000 plus financial statements are already uploaded into the GPT. Anything that you want to know about the disclosures, any other information, any qualification, you can simply put in a prompt there and you will get the right information along with the source of where that information is coming from. This has even been launched for the students where now they have access to all study course material, all generals, anything and everything under the ICI umbrella is pretty much now available in these ICI GPTs. Now this is an enterprise model, which is typically the paid model, but it's available to everyone for free. And you can download this without having a Chat GPT Pro version. So it will come and get added to your existing Chat GPT. You would still need Chat GPT in your system to be able to use this, but you will not have to pay any amount for it. In the same sense, there are other tools, so from Harvard to other domain-specific tools that are kind of coming in, which you need to see and possibly use basis the need that you have. As I said in the beginning, there are 18 lakh plus models that are already available, and they're not even counting the API integrations that are out there. So that's the volume of tools that you are currently looking at. Now I'll very quickly cover some of the most commonly used tools, and few of these have also been recognized by ICI and can be easily plugged in into your day-to-day work, depending upon the field that you are in. So we'll start with automating bookkeeping and data entry. So VIC AI, or Vic AI is what we typically call it as, is very commonly used an AI tool for invoice processing. So if you are into work of invoices, a lot of invoices in terms of processing that, data extraction, even some bit of detection of any exceptions, along with integrating with ERPs, then this is the tool to kind of go for. And I'm sorry, I know there are more people that have come into the room, so I'll add a disclaimer. This is not a sponsorship for any of these tools that I will be covering here. Each section I am covering only one tool. There are 18 lakh plus models, so please do your due diligence before you sign up for something. I have tried to cover most of the tools which are already recognized and cleared by ICI so that they are easy to be adopted. But there are multiple other tools, so please do your respective due diligence. Now, BotKeeper is commonly used for bookkeeping. Now, if you want an AI-powered bookkeeping tool, along with a human review layer, because at this point in time, while we are implementing these AI tools, as I said in the beginning, the accuracy isn't there. So this also has a mandatory human review layer, which helps in getting better data out of what you are inputting and have a better output overall. Obviously, centralized dashboard, scalability for firms. This is kind of given for every tool that you would be looking at and we would be covering here. But this is one nice tool if in case you are into bookkeeping and that's what you want to automate. So this is one of the Indian tools. This helps you automate data entry. And from a GST reconciliation perspective, and a lot of work around that is where this tool would kind of come into picture and can help you automate a lot of this and make your life easy when it comes to work around GST reconciliation and overall data entry automation. Just some of the other examples, the Zenai finance platform and the bill automation tool. Again, couple of tools that you can look at. But for those particular activities, I would personally go for the tools that I just showed. Now, AI in auditing and compliance, I think this is one place where you possibly have the highest regulations as well. So we have to be very careful in terms of what we are using. So one of the automation tools that is available typically from a small to a mid-sized member firm is AI Audit Assistant, which is called as Assure AI. Look at it, it can help you automate your entire audit cycle from confirmations to transaction monitoring. If you want to put in any compliance assurance, all of that can be pretty much done from this one single tool. In terms of data analytics or detection, especially when it comes to journal entries and otherwise, MindBridge is what is being most commonly used right now. Expert is another, but MindBridge is slightly better than Expert when it kind of comes to it. And when you are processing millions and millions of transactions, if you want to take out those exceptions or the aberrations out of it, then this is one tool which has been doing really well in helping a lot of people improve their overall audit quality. Document review, I have not put in the name because this is what at least I have seen is from one of the large firms that they have prepared their own tool, which was more or less 100% accurate. But keeping that aside, there are again multiple tools, and even you can use the likes of Copilot or a Gemini or a Chat GPT to create your own bots in it. I know when I say a bot in Chat GPT, it sounds very fancy, but believe me when I say that it takes less than 10 to 15 minutes to actually create a custom GPT bot. You just need to be a paid member. If you have Chat GPT Pro, you can make your own bot in less than 15 minutes. You just need to create one system prompt, set in the instructions. There is a specific way of putting that prompt by using some of the criteria that is there, but that is all that you need to do, and it is a one-time exercise. If you take an enterprise model, you can also make it available to all the members in your firm. Sorry, you had a question.
So with respect to this document review, as you mentioned that one of the firm, they created their in-house tool, but for majority of entities, for majority of clients, would not it lead to data breach or privacy issues if we use Chat GPT Pro or any other AI tool?
No, so a very valid question, and data security and privacy is one of the key points. But having said that, that is where it kind of comes in, which model you are using and how you are using it. So if you are, say, in a Microsoft ecosystem, and that is why I was talking about it. Now, are you suggesting that when you have your Microsoft Outlook and the data that you have within there is not safe?
No, it is safe.
Yeah.
But when it comes to contracts, right, agreements, then it involves more than two parties, right? More than one party, sorry. So in that case, it becomes very important that we keep the sanctity of the document, and it should be protected in every form.
Absolutely. And
to
I'm
avoid any
happy
legal
to-
issues.
No, absolutely. The same thing applies here. If you are using an enterprise model of Microsoft, when you're taking a Copilot license, right, your data is as safe and secure as it is in your inbox. Even in your inbox, you would have these contracts. You would be mailing them, receiving them, discussing with your team. The same principle applies there. It's about which model you are using and how you're using it. More than happy to talk about it later, but be it ChatGPT, be it, as I said, Copilot or Gemini and some of these other tools, you have to make sure that you're checking those boxes when you're looking at from a security perspective. That is absolutely paramount. There is no second thought about it, but Microsoft will assure you in terms of the data that is there as much as it is being used in rest of the ecosystem.
Thank you.
So is there a question? From a compliance monitoring perspective, purely if we have to do it, then Blue Dot is something which has really picked up of late, especially from a country-specific tax rules. If you have to kind of put in over there, along with AI-powered expense tracking and overall compliance, that is something this tool has been doing beautifully right now with an overall real-time reporting 24/7. So you can actually set this up, and even if in case there is any breach or anything that is happening, you will get a notification there, and then it could be at any point in time during the day. Now for tax compliance and planning, BlueJ and TaxGPT, couple of tools that you can pick up. Along with this, be it again these tools or some of your own custom GPTs or the bots that you create, you can also have them at the first level of the conversation that has to happen, right? From an overall workspace perspective, a lot of people have made in solutions around when you have to work on GST and other tax reporting, that you create your API integration, you have basic Google Sheets, the information would go out, anyone who fills in and send it back, The tool will read the entire response, populate for you in an Excel sheet. And if you put in an integration of Gemini as well from an AI perspective, it will even read, analyze, and give you an overall summary of it. Which are the ones that you have to prioritize first? Who is the one who has not sent you a proper response? Right? That is where your API integration will come into play. There is one thing, if I don't have an API integration, I can just see, okay, I had sent this email to Rahul, he has replied, he has put in 2 attachments into it. You add generative AI to it, it will even go in those attachments, read those attachments, and give me a summary of what they have sent. Sorry, I'm just conscious of time. I'll take all the questions and I'll be around after the session as well if in case there are any questions there. Again, some of the things from tax preparation to overall automation, filling of the sheets, as I was just talking about this integration. In fact, I don't know if you're following the ICI AI hackathon that is happening currently. One of the participants has built this beautiful solution from a tax compliance perspective, along with his entire integration from Google Sheets that I was just talking about. So this is something I'm sharing what he has prepared. All of these hackathon videos are also available online. So if you ever want to have a look at it, you can simply go to the AI and ICI website. All the videos are there. Possibly just look at the last 2 videos which are for the semifinals. Some amazing solutions are out there. There's a quick conversation, but you can always reach out to them and also understand. And these are all mostly freshly qualified CAs who have developed these solutions by themselves looking at YouTube and other videos. So none of them are like hard coders, but they have developed some beautiful solutions. So do take out some time. I think each video is for about a couple of hours, but have a look at them and see what kind of is helpful from your overall perspective. Predictive tax planning, again, there was a board that somebody had created, very easy one on versus new versus old tax regime. You put in the data over there, it can read through the entire thing, give you which regime to be followed, what is the additional clause that you can possibly bring in if you have to shift from one regime to another, how it has to be done, even some bit of planning can be done there. But with all of that, make sure that you have experts involved who are reading that data and vetting that information. If your prompts are not correct, if your prompts are not descriptive enough, AI hallucinates a lot. What you would see in a basic prompt if you are putting in. Like I can simply go to ChatGPT and I can say, what is my tax rate? Or how do I shift to this? It'll throw me some random answer. And again, this is where the ICI GPTs come in because they have pre-fed data. Or you use a custom GPT. If you're not using any of these 2, then make sure that your prompts are very detailed. And when I say very detailed, I am saying at least 500 to 600 words. Typically, anyone who goes in, their prompt is for 8 to 10 words. And then they say, this tool is not working, this doesn't know how to do things. So make sure that your input is fine first, your instructions are fine first. If it is a generic prompt, it has to be at least 400, 500, 600 words. Whereas talking about summarization, the tool that we have developed internally, the system prompts that we have in it, each prompt is anywhere between 1500 to 2000 words. That's the detail that we go into to make sure that the response that we are getting is something which actually makes sense. Again, some of the things that we have already covered. Now, AI for financial analysis and forecasting. This is where ChatGPT would probably still be the best. Again, do not use ChatGPT just straight away. You will have to build in those prompts. And I don't know if you're aware, prompt engineering also has become a huge thing. There are actually programs being done for that. And people who have been able to carve out a detailed prompt is also selling only the prompt as high as $100,000 right now. If you can really solve that problem and get to the bottom of it and create a prompt like that, which can help some of these tools generate the results accurately, that in itself has become a huge business. Now, from a forecasting and advisory perspective, there are these couple of tools which already have some of the information built in. So Docket and TrueWind, two tools which mostly people are using currently. So again, go and have a look if this is the area that interests you. And obviously a lot of usage has of late kind of come in terms of algo trading and portfolio management, people doing deep research from not only one geography, but also looking at multiple markets and multiple countries at the same time. If you are getting into a deep research, even within ChatGPT, there is a section at the bottom where you can click on deep research. You can enable web to ensure that the information that you're getting to, you are getting all the sources. But if you really want to do a deep research, then Perplexity AI with the deep research functioning enabled along with web search is where you can do this the best, because that's one tool which will also give you the links of all the possible sources that are out there. So it's not an information that it will be making it up by itself, but also give you where it has picked up that information from, which section, along with the link that if you want to go and read more about it, you can simply do that. That doesn't happen in most of the other tools. Again, some of the things that we can possibly be doing from an overall perspective, this is where you should be using your large language models and generative AI. In my personal experience, while there are multiple tools available, and again, each tool would be outdoing the other tool in some or the other activity, you should identify which is the best for your ecosystem from an overall perspective, and at least for one tool, take a paid version. You would get some limited number of tokens and everything. And I have not even covered agentic AI today, but Manus AI and some of those agentic AIs where now you can potentially develop your own agents or your own employees who you can address, and they can be assessing and doing one work on a continuous basis. That is also a possibility right now. But agentic AI is still very new as a concept. People are still fiddling around. So something to be cautious of right now when you are using it. I think the latest one which has kind of come in from one of the bigger giants is Google. It's around when you're doing actually shopping. So they have built an agent around it. You can choose whatever you want to shop, select it, choose the price. So as you know, the price keeps on fluctuating. So I say that, okay, I want this particular brand shirt in this size, this color, whenever it is available for say $1,000. Now, whenever that will happen, the tool will itself add it to the cart and simply just send you a notification, do you want to buy it? If you click on yes, it will have your payment details already in there. It will buy the product on your address and get it shipped automatically. So those kind of agentic AIs are also coming in. People are obviously developing their own solutions as well. But again, from a bigger giant perspective, that's the latest one that has kind of come in. So if you would search around it, you would find it. Again, in ChatGPT and in some of the others, there are a lot of these agentic or agents that are available, but be cautious when you are using it in terms of where your data is getting shared and how safe that data is. Like I'll be okay sharing probably my card details with Google, but not with a random agent that is available online, given the kind of scams that are currently happening. This we have already covered. So from an overall perspective, Copilot is one ecosystem. So if you are in the Microsoft 365 environment and you want it to be linked everywhere, then Microsoft 365 Copilot is the best productivity tool, especially as I said, if you are in that ecosystem. Similarly, in the Google workspace, Gemini is the ecosystem that you can possibly be getting into if that is what you are using on day in and day basis, especially with Google Sheets and everything. This is doing a marvelous job right now. Some of the other utilities, again, if you're not using it, Notion AI can help you draft and organize content. Grammarly, although this is a very, very old AI tool, but very recently they have also now done their own API integration from AI, and the kind of output that you will get is much better than what you would see in a normal chat GPT or otherwise. Otter AI helps you transcribe meetings. Now you can also use your own chat GPT if you are okay to use it, get it added to your calls, and it will transcribe and summarize all of your calls as well. Your chat GPT can also be linked now to your Gmail also if you want it to be. So they are obviously coming in with a lot of these partnerships. So keep yourself updated in some of this information as well. Crisp AI, this is something I've used or I have seen people using a lot when I'm dealing with Europe or US. So this helps remove all the background noise from the calls. VoicePen AI, again, this you will have in your Outlook as well, but if you're not using Outlook, then this helps you convert your voice note to written content. Right, so this is just a quick summary of a lot of tools that are possibly out there and you can be using. As I said, Hugging Face, more than 18 lakh tools that are there. If you would open up, even right now, you would kind of get to see that. So do your due diligence. There is possibly a tool for anything and everything that you want to do. It is up to your imagination and what is that you want to make available and ensure that that thing is working and running and functioning. Right? With that, thank you so much for your time and sorry for keeping you this late. You've been a great audience. Thank you. I'll take your questions, sir.
Is there a way to sort of filter out tools based on ranking or something? You know, for example, I have jotted down every single tool that you told, and probably there are more than 30 plus tools, right?
Yeah.
And by the time any of us start experimenting with them, I am pretty sure a newer, better version of another AI tool will be there, right? So is there a way of, and I mean, like how you guys who are, you know, like probably AI faculties and all, keeping pace with it, and you know, how to filter it out, how to make sure that you are not wasting time on something which is already going to get redundant in the next 15 days. So that's my question.
Sure. From a large language models perspective, anytime a new model is launched, they would release this information. Right? Again, this is from a large language model perspective, and this is something you can get on multiple websites. So even if you go on Google right now and search the ranking of the large language models, you would find that for each and every tool that is there, and with every new model that is coming in, they have a certain matrix that they go for. Like, you know, how we have, say like a fixed metric to calculate inflation. They have a metric to calculate the accuracy of these tools and the ranking, which is published. Now this is for, as I said, the large language models. Now when it comes to the tools in general, for that, unfortunately, it has to be tried, seen, looked at demos, understand the accuracy, and that's the only way of doing it. You can obviously be involved in some of these AI sessions and AI newsletters that are out there to keep you abreast in terms of what's happening in the market. But there is, at least in my knowledge, there is nothing where the accuracy of those tools are getting published. But from a broader perspective, when you're using large language models or generative AI, that information is publicly available to everyone, and it keeps getting revisited with every new model launch.
So not just the accuracy. What I wanted to say was, like today, if you want to buy something on Amazon, you can look at reviews and stuff, right? And that's how you decide within the same category of products or hundreds of products available, which one you should go for.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of web page, anything getting developed wherein people can figure out, you know, because otherwise what will happen is none of us would have so much time to, you know, keep testing and experimenting with, you know, some of these tools, only to find that, you know, it's getting redundant in the next 30 days or next 60 days.
Unfortunately, nothing is available right now. Even the portals or websites that are there, they are privately owned websites. So they would have their own bias in terms of who they are promoting. Typically, I follow 5-6 different newsletters to keep myself updated in terms of what is happening, and by speaking with people and understanding what is happening. I think probably with time, once this is more refined, we might have something on those lines, but this is such a fast-paced environment right now. And then, as you rightly said, there are multiple tools which will come in and possibly go away within 15, 30 days. And that's where probably going with slightly bigger company, understanding their credentials, and a lot of those things will come into play.
So thanks, that helps.
But unfortunately, sorry, I can't help you with that. That's
No,
where we
but
are.
that's the real puzzle. Every day there's so much overwhelming.
That's why I tried keeping only one tool for each thing and not bombard you with 10 names for each of the activities here.
Sir, what is the data security while using the tools?
That has to be absolutely the first priority, especially when you are using client data, or you are working in audits, etc., where you have to be adhering to specific compliances. So that security obviously has to be the first factor that you are looking at, and what we will also look at. Second comes obviously the accuracy of the output, and then we would look at cost and other things. So that's typically the order that we would follow.
I'll take the simple example. I tried DeepSeek, I tried ChatGPT to back calculate the interest rate. Both gave the wrong answers, the simple calculation. My Excel gave the right answer.
Again, it will depend on the quality of the prompt. So I'm not sure how you define
That might be the thing.
But having said that, the tools do hallucinate a lot. They have a lot of biasness because of the data they are trained on.
Yeah.
You ask the same question on DeepSeek versus ChatGPT, the answer would be very specific to one country versus the other.
Yeah. Even I think the field wise, one tool gives better answers in a particular field
Absolutely.
than other.
Again, basis the data that it has been trained on. So I tried answer that before as well. Data security, we have to see the terms and conditions of the tool that we are using. There are the ecosystem. So for me, the safest ecosystem is Microsoft. And when we are using Copilot in an enterprise ecosystem, your data is safe and secured like that. Other than that, again, you can be doing multiple other things. So say if we are, what we have also done as a firm at times when we are looking at it, we don't even send our data to their cloud. So that's an extreme way of doing it, or probably a larger way of doing it. But you can also choose your cloud where the information is getting processed. So there are multiple steps to it. But as I was telling this gentleman as well, your first priority when you are looking at this thing, especially when you're dealing with client data, has to be on data security. What a lot of people also do is they would change the client name, they would change the numbers, just get a sense of the problem and then later update it in their work paper. So there are workarounds as well. But if you're using client data, do not do it at this point in time, at least from these tools, because there is that risk of the information getting leaked. The tools are training themselves on your data. That's why they are also available for free. There are no free lunches in the world. They do it only because they are getting to train their tools by using your data. So that give and take is there. So be very cautious of how you are using it. Right? With that, thank you so much again for all your time and being so patient. If still there are any questions, I can take them outside. Thank you.
Thank you, CA Ankit Chugh sir, for your valuable time and insightful session on AI tool. Now I would like to request CA Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Singhal-ji, Program Director of GCC Summit, to please come on the dais and present the memento to CA Ankit Chugh sir. Now, I would like to request again with the CA Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Singhal ji to please give the closing remarks of this session. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to listen to Ankit. He's our young dynamic expert on AI. Of course, he himself handles a GCC. So, and I'm sure that you would go home more enlightened, and that was the whole objective of this 2-day GCC Summit. Today, with this, we'll be closing day 1, of course, and hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you very much.